So thank you once again, everybody, for joining us today. This is session 3R in the GSE 101 track. We welcome Sean Rooney, who will help us to explore the critical importance of well-defined mainframe workforce training programs. If you do have any questions in the session, then I will make sure that you're able to unmute yourself. So please do unmute and ask a question, or alternatively, put your question or comment in the chat, and then we'll seek to answer those questions for you as well. I'm also going to put in the feedback link to the feedback form for the session in the chat as well a bit later on. So please do give your feedback and help us to make our sessions even better than they are at this event. So with that, Sean, I'll hand over to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the introduction, and thank you everyone for joining. So hello everyone. Welcome to Navigating Mainframe Education. Let me just change the next slide. There we go. Empowering Every Generation presentation. Like I mentioned, I know we are at the last presentations of the whole conference here, so I appreciate you being here and hopefully ending this conference on a high note. So my name is Sean Rooney, and I currently work as a client services technical consultant for Broadcom's Mainframe AI Ops team, specializing in automation and Ops MVS, which is a lot of words to say that I am a software consultant. As I get started, just wanted to give a special thanks to Niall Ashley, who I believe he's the 101 chair for the entire 101 section, and then he helped guide me in the right direction with this presentation here. So just wanted to give a special shout out to him. Okay, so a quick about me. I grew up in New York. I currently live in San Diego, California. If anyone is lucky enough to ever visit, I have an extra bedroom for you if you would like to stay. I graduated from a New York State college, SUNY Albany, in 2014 with a degree in business administration with a concentration in IT and a concentration in management. My mainframe career started at a regional bank that is just on the cusp of the 25 largest banks here in the United States. I started as a mainframe storage and system support intern, and then I accepted that full-time role once I graduated. I felt like storage was a good place to start my mainframe career because I'm sure most of us in the workforce here with the mainframe have run into the issue of having a difficult time explaining what it is that we do for work. Storage was a good entry point for me because it was easier to explain to my friends and family, and just it was an easier concept to conceptualize by just comparing it to iPhone storage, saying I worked on mainframe storage, saying how there's iPhone applications, there are mainframe applications, that type of stuff. So I worked on mainframe storage for 3 years before moving over to the database DB2 team within that same bank, where I spent 4 years there before moving over to my current role at Broadcom, and I have been in this role since 2021. A phrase that is used a lot, by myself included, is the mainframe found me, is whenever people ask how you got first discovered the mainframe, started working in the mainframe, things like that. So I just started in the mainframe because it was a paid summer internship going into my senior year of college. I could have been anything IT related, and then it just ended up being mainframe. I enjoyed my 10-week summer internship, and then I viewed it as a viable option, as something that I could see myself doing for the rest of my life. So if I were a betting person, I would feel pretty confident stating that I am the first mainframe presentation of this conference to include a slide on Plato's allegory of the cave, but it is how I would describe my first few years working on the mainframe. So as a quick refresher, or for those who are unaware, Plato was a Greek philosopher, and in the allegory, Plato describes people that have spent their lives chained in a cave facing a blank wall. So you can see the people here, facing to the left here, just staring at the wall. They watch shadows projected onto the wall by objects passing in front of a fire behind them. So they have like kind of the puppets and the objects here. And they give names to these shadows. The shadows are the prisoner's reality, but not accurate representations of the real world around them. The shadows represent the fragment of reality that we can normally perceive through our senses, while the objects under the sun represent the true forms of objects that we can only perceive through reason. So the way I'm going to tie this back into the beginning of my mainframe career is I thought the only way to learn the mainframe was either through interskill, which I will get into later, and through direct knowledge transfer, just learning from the senior members on my team, kind of them teaching me how to do things and ways like that. So I was the one that was staring at the wall, and it wasn't until years later when I discovered that there are all of these resources that I'm going to be going over today. There are all these resources of user groups and communities and organizations and conferences that I realized how much I was missing out on that I really would have found beneficial in the beginning of my mainframe journey. Sorry. So I was in a situation where that was just how all my coworkers learned the mainframe. That was how they learned and what worked for them. So everyone just, because that was how they learned and weren't aware of all the other education that was out there, they just figured that's the only way to learn mainframe. So that's how I would learn the mainframe, the same way they did. I do want to make it clear that I do not blame anyone at all for just the lack of awareness of the resources that were out there. I just hope to help and pass on what I know now to the newer mainframers. So what this presentation hopes to accomplish. This is a 101 session, so I am going to do my best to avoid using acronyms. If I slip up and use an acronym that you're not sure what it means or stands for, please speak up, let me know. I will be happy to explain. A phrase that gets often used in the mainframe world, I myself included, is it seems like drinking from a fire hose, which is our picture on the left here, which is a metaphor explaining the experience of being presented with an overwhelming amount of new information while simultaneously attempting to understand, remember, and apply it. Learning the mainframe can definitely be a drinking from the fire hose experience. So I'm going to do my best with this presentation to approach mainframe learning as drinking through a straw instead of from a fire hose. My main goal here today with this presentation is to increase awareness of all of the tools and resources that are out there to assist with your mainframe education and career. To the best of my ability, I've created a kind of a one-stop shop presentation for all of the resources that I'm at least aware of. Please feel free to step in at any point and make myself and the rest of the audience aware of any opportunities that I may have missed if you're someone who's more experienced with the mainframe. I have included every link I could find in the notes section, and I'm also planning on pulling up web pages I mentioned throughout the presentation, so you can see what they look like, and for the meeting recording, so people aren't stuck kind of Googling on their own, and just so they'll have a reference point. I am going to show you exactly what I'm referencing, like I just said. So if you're watching this recording, please also make sure to download the PowerPoint that I have uploaded to the GSE UK website, because the notes section will be extremely beneficial with all of the links and URLs right there. So I wish I knew something like this existed when I first started my career, like I've already mentioned. When I first started, the ideology was the company would be more than happy to send me to conferences, but I had to go out and find the conferences, which is something that could be pretty overwhelming, because how am I supposed to even know where to start when I'm just starting my career? It's one of those things that you don't know what you don't know when you're starting. Just as a quick example, when I was first learning TSO and ISPF, I was using my mouse to navigate, just because that's how I learned in elementary school. When you're using a computer, you just point and click. And the advice I was given was that I should never take my hands off of the keyboard, was because that's just how my coworker learned, that just tab around and spacebar, and it takes up too much time to point and click. Although that may have been the case for her, because how she learned to use a keyboard and type was by not using a mouse. It doesn't mean it's a one size fits all. So I was being fit into a mold of this is how I learned it, so this is how you should learn it. At the time, being unaware that anything like Visual Studio Code even existed, and it was possible to accomplish the same goal, whether it was through VS Code or the 3270 green screen. So speaking directly to the audience who is new to the mainframe, the fact that you're attending or viewing this session recording is a huge advantage that I wish I had. So I just want to give kudos to you for even making it to this point of finding out about the GSE UK conference, being aware of this presentation and everything like that. You already have a leg up on me that I wish that I had. Just another quick reference going from Plato's Allegory of the Cave to 2001: A Space Odyssey. For those who haven't seen the movie, there are a few black monoliths that start appearing. And once they physically touch the monolith, it triggers a shift in evolution. And funny enough, that is how I felt in my first summer internship with the mainframe. We were doing a KEC upgrade, CEC, of the physical kind of mainframe machine that looks like the refrigerator. And doing that upgrade and touching the mainframe computer after weeks of staring at a green screen is when it all started to click for me. And I'm hoping to help the attendees of this presentation kind of reach that aha moment a lot sooner than I did. So the outline of this presentation, we are going to start with some statistics and some quotes on the importance of mainframe onboarding and education. We have a quick section on lifelong learning. I'm going to go through these educational resources, which are social media. We have communities and message boards, some podcasts and books, badging and credentials. We got organizations, conferences, and license programs. And then if we have time at the end, I'm just going to give some general advice that I wish someone had told me. So, importance of onboarding and education, specifically mainframe onboarding and education, I should say. So where the mainframe stands today, we have 90% of the top 50 banks run on IBM Z. 87% of all credit card transactions run on IBM Z. This represents 30 billion transactions per day. 67% of Fortune 100 companies are mainframe customers. 80% of the top 5 airlines use IBM Z for critical workload. And 70% of the top 10 global retailers use IBM Z for critical workloads. So obviously, mainframe, IBM Z, very relevant. Now, looking at some statistics for mainframe skill sets today. 86% of respondents to a survey said they can acquire the talent necessary for their mainframe, but 57% of the respondents are concerned about loss of necessary skill to operate the platform. In a given survey, 93% of the respondents said yes, they are experiencing a skills gap, and 71% of respondents think that their mainframe team is understaffed. So this is importance of onboarding education in general, not even just strictly with the mainframe. We have a survey where 21% of employees who left within the first 6 months referenced more effective education as a key factor that could have kept them from leaving. And over the past 5 years, mainframe-powered organizations have lost 23% of their mainframe workforce and only replaced 1 out of every 3 of the experts lost. And that comes from Forbes. So here we just have some skills development quotes of people in the mainframe world. I know there's a lot of words here, so I'm just going to pick the one middle quote where from Misty Decker, mainframe and COBOL evangelist at Micro Focus, who says, the problem isn't that students aren't interested, it's that we're not explaining to them at all. And people are not explaining what's really good about it, speaking about the mainframe. So we do have some forward thinking leaders here. We have Meredith Stoll, who's the vice president of ecosystem at IBM, and Greg Lotko, who is this SVP and GM of the mainframe software division at Broadcom. Also just how they're approaching everything I've mentioned so far with skills gap and onboarding and education. So lifelong learning. This slide was actually inspired by Darren Search's 2023 Share New Orleans presentation. he had a really good section on lifelong learning. Darren is the CEO of Interskill Learning. I will get into both what Share is and what Interskill is later in this presentation. Lifelong learning is the ongoing voluntary and self-motivated pursuit of knowledge for either personal or professional reasons. It's kind of the thought of why would the learning stop once we finish school and we start working, that we should view it as soon as you come out of college when you're 22, you're not going to know everything for the rest of your life as a 22-year-old. It's important to keep learning. The chances are that you, along with many other professionals, will see your required core skills change even just in the next few years because technology is evolving faster than employers can update their training programs, as noted by the World Economic Forum there. So as a result, the skills in cognitive and analytical thinking, along with curiosity and lifelong learning, will be necessary for your personal success. Technology literacy is the third fastest growing core skill, with AI and big data topping the list in that field. So there is a huge value in continuing your training and your education. All right, so now the main event, the resources that are out there and available to you. So we are going to start with social media. Everything I've listed here in this slide and every slide is in alphabetical order. It's not priority wise, it was just alphabetical order was the easiest way to do it. So Discord, for those who are unaware, Discord is an instant messaging platform. Think similar to Slack. It does allow communication through voice calls, video calls, text messaging, and media and files, but I personally just use it kind of as an instant messenger type thing. There is a System Z enthusiasts server that is very active every single day. We have channels for Z systems, ZOS, events, careers. And then what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to pull up our Discord channel here, so you can see our System Z enthusiasts. And like I mentioned earlier, the link to this and the link to everything I'm mentioning in the presentation is going to be in the notes section of the PowerPoint slide if you download the PowerPoint that I uploaded. So like I mentioned, you can see here we have a Z Systems channel, a ZOS channel, we kind of events. So here if we go to events general here, so you could see there's just I've been on PTO the last 2 weeks, so we have 38 new messages since April 12th, which is the last time I logged on. But one of my favorite parts is here on the top left, we just have events. So here, kind of happening right now, is the GSE UK virtual conference. There's a meeting later today for new to ZOS IBM group on, let me see here, 10 ways to help maintain performance and cost. So let me come back here. Tomorrow morning, we have a Z Rebels technical water cooler, and on and on and on. So this is something, like I said, that I wish I knew existed a very long time ago. I probably found out about this 1 month ago, and I am 10 years into my mainframe journey. Next, Facebook. So Facebook can be leveraged with the mainframe, mostly for Facebook groups. I am personally part of a group that's just named the Professional Mainframers Facebook group. LinkedIn is a big one. I think out of all the ones listed here, I would say LinkedIn is the most beneficial and the most important one. So while other social networks focus more on your personal life, LinkedIn is all about professional networking. Something that I do want to emphasize today is that, at least in my personal experience, in college, it was kind of drilled into my head that LinkedIn is used strictly for recruiting and for job searching. While it is efficient for both, and I landed in my current role because of a LinkedIn message from a recruiter, LinkedIn can be used for so much more, including as an educational resource. One of the main themes of my presentation today is just awareness, and there is so much information out there on LinkedIn daily that can give you a read on the current mainframe landscape. Like I said, in my presentation notes, I've included many LinkedIn pages that lead directly to the companies I'm going to be mentioning in this presentation. And I've also added my profile, my LinkedIn profile into the notes section as well. So feel free to add me there. I'm always reposting, liking articles and bringing them onto other people's feeds. So another point I want to make about LinkedIn is the importance of LinkedIn with networking. That yes, it is important to connect with your coworkers, but I have found way more opportunity and awareness of what's going on in the mainframe world as a whole comes from connecting with the people in the mainframe world outside of your organization, which I'm sure is something that we could all relate to, that we kind of, some days we get sucked into our silo and then just whatever we're working on. Where there's just so much going on. There's so many conferences all the time. There's meetings of user groups all the time, things like that that I wouldn't even be aware of if it weren't for LinkedIn and those connections I've made of people reposting articles and things like that. So when I first started my career, it wasn't an issue of my company not wanting to send people to conferences in my first few roles, excuse me. I felt it was more just a lack of awareness, which again, I don't blame anybody. I don't think that's anybody's fault. And today I'm hoping to prevent that from happening to anyone else with this presentation here. Just one more LinkedIn recommendation I have is also just to look local. I have found local San Diego tech groups on LinkedIn and built a community out from there. And it doesn't even have to be strictly mainframe related, as long as it's tech related, tech oriented. There's a lot of like-minded people out there who we could educate them about the mainframe and how it's still important and not an old dinosaur. Also, just join your high school or university alumni page and just keep up with those pages and see if there's any meetups, any things like that. Next, we're going on to Reddit. So for those who are unaware, Reddit is a social news website and forum where content is socially curated and promoted by site members through voting. And there is a mainframe dedicated subreddit out there called r/mainframe. TikTok. I put TikTok there, but I couldn't find exact examples for education. Most of what I found when I searched were just memes about working with the mainframe, but I am sure someone who's better at TikTok and more tech savvy than myself could find some valuable educational resources out there. And if they could let me know, that would be fantastic. So we have YouTube. The YouTube channels I've listed include the IBM Helps page, the Interskill Learning page, and Tish Talks Tech. So talking about Tish's channel specifically, she's awesome. She does like a bunch of interview sit downs with people who are new to the mainframe, people who are old to the mainframe. She lists in her bio as whether you're looking for inspiration, advice, or practical tips on how to succeed in mainframe computing. Her channel has everything you need to achieve your goals and reach your full potential. And then let me pull Chrome back up. Another example I wanted to give here is, so I'm just going to pull up YouTube. If it wants to load, there we go. And you could just type in learn mainframe. And then there are so many playlists here. Here we have 10 videos of mainframe online training. We have mainframe COBOL with 70 videos here. All of these lessons and another COBOL course. So just there are all these lesson plans out here that just easily digestible. Just throw it on YouTube in the background during the day and things like that. So usually if I'm going to be on YouTube anyway, I might as well do something productive. So also, it isn't listed here, but on Twitter or X, it can also be a great resource. I know IBM Community has its own dedicated Twitter page. I will be getting into the IBM communities on the next slide. So again here, everything is listed in alphabetical order. Both BMC and Broadcom communities are forums dedicated specifically to BMC and Broadcom products. I want to make sure I specify that. So these can be great guides for familiarity with both BMC and Broadcom specifically licensed products, not just kind of mainframe in general. So the IBM Tech Exchange community, it offers a constant stream of freshly updated content, including featured blogs and forums for discussion and collaboration, access to the latest white papers. There are webcasts, presentations, and research uniquely for members, and it's all by members. So I'm going to go here and pull up my IBM Tech Exchange community page here. One moment. So this is my homepage. I'm already logged in here, just community.ibm.com. As you can see here on the left, my joined groups, I'm in AI Ops, the general IBM Tech Exchange. We have IBM Z and Linux One IBM Z, the Linux One page. We have an IBM Z Educator Hub, an IBM Z Global Student Hub, and then a new to IBM Z. New to IBM Z is the Tech Exchange group that I am going to focus on. So just clicking that there. So specifically the new to IBM Z community, as you can see here, you could deepen your technical skills, expand your global network, and connect with mentors and other early tenure professionals on the Mainframe platform. So as you can see here, here we have home. There are so many blog entries. I'm probably going to stop clicking because I think it's just running a little slower since I'm sharing my video, but you can see we have blog entries, we have discussions, we have events, videos, libraries, everything coming up, and all of it being IBM Z. I think actually just this first one, I'm just going to pull up the events here and see what else we have going on here. So coming up the next one, we have a CICS technical introduction for non-CICS people. So it's a lot of ones like that. We got a GSE Nordic region conference coming up. So definitely recommend the new to IBM Z IBM Tech Exchange. Next, we have the IBM Champions and Rising Champions. So we have IBM Champions are defined as the most passionate, loyal, and talented IBM customers and partners who are recognized by IBM for their contributions and advocacy for IBM technologies. So the IBM Champions and IBM Rising Champions advocacy badge programs recognize IBM's strongest technology advocates who are amplifying IBM technologies to the world. I will get more into badging on the next slide. Also, IBM Champions are great people to surround yourself with and follow them on LinkedIn and look at their suggestions and see what they're sharing and things like that. Next is the Open Mainframe project, which has its own dedicated slide later in the presentation also. The Open Mainframe project, the education project, they meet once a month on the third Thursday of each month. They also have a Slack channel out there. Then let me pull that up. Again, the invite is in the notes section. So here we have our Open Mainframe project. And then specifically, we have the Open Mainframe Education Project, which, like I mentioned, we have our meetings once a month on the third Thursday of every month. Next, we have Planet Mainframe, which is it's kind of just a congregated website. Let me pull that up. I'm going to go specifically to the events page. So as you can see, we have the GSE UK virtual conference going on now. The next month, we have the virtual DB2 user group meeting. So Planet Mainframe was formed to provide the mainframe community with access to a broad and unmatched source of specialized knowledge beyond what was available through a typical channel or a single vendor scenario. Planet Mainframe members work to provide the mainframe community with access to articles, workshops, online events, and the Planet Mainframe blog to share best practices and innovate approaches to the continually evolving world of mainframe technology. So let me get back to PowerPoint. There we go. Next, I'm going into badging and credentials. There we go. There we go. I was looking for that slide. Okay, I lost the slide there. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Sorry about that. Next, we have podcasts and books. So the Terminal Talk podcast. I'm sure that there are other podcasts out there, but this podcast was pinned to the top of the Mainframe subreddit that I had mentioned earlier. This podcast takes a look at the people, technology, and culture behind the mainframe. You could expect interviews, discussions, and interesting tidbits along the way. We have the I Am a Mainframer podcast series, which explores the careers of those in the mainframe ecosystem. It's hosted by Mainframe thought leader Steve Dickens, who is the vice president and practice leader at the Futurum Group. Next, we have the IBM Redbooks. So IBM Redbooks develop and deliver skills, technical know-how, and materials to IBM technical professionals. And then next, we have What on Earth is a Mainframe Book, and the Rex Language, a practical approach to programming book. I have both of those linked in the notes section on Amazon. Okay, badging and credentials. So this is another incredible resource that I wish I had been made aware of earlier in my career. The great thing about badging, among many other things, is that you can display your verified earned badges directly on your LinkedIn profile. So starting with IBM Z Explore. So IBM Z Explore is a fun challenge-based learning platform available globally at no cost with no prior knowledge required. So you can get hands-on experience to learn in-demand IBM Z skills to help build a career in enterprise computing. Earning digital badges qualifies you to participate in the IBM Z virtual career fairs and also showcase your skills to employers. Again, available at no charge. Learners can gain hands-on experiences through coding challenges and working with various technologies to develop valuable skills and earn industry-recognized digital badges. There is no prior knowledge needed to get started, and content is continuously being developed and added to further learning experiences. So let me get back to my notes, and I'm just going to pull up what the Z Explore page looks like. There we go. So here we're just going to go to ibm.com/z/resources/Z Explore. And we have all our benefits, kind of how to get started. You could get started right here. You build your skills with IBM Z Explore. So then I'll just go here to get started. And like I mentioned, it's free. All you have to do is create an IBM ID. So then here, if you want to start out, usually you'll start out with the fundamentals and concepts right here. So I'm just going to click that. Then you can see we have 7 challenges, and then you have to complete at least 2 challenges and concepts to earn your fundamentals and concepts badge. Next, we have the IBM Z Mainframe Skills Depot, which you can access over 70 hours of self-paced IBM Z learning content. You can experience hands-on content and labs and earn industry-recognized badges and credit certifications to build in-demand skills. The Mainframe Skills Depot makes choosing your learning path simple by organizing learning by 3 primary job roles, which are Mainframe System Administrator, Mainframe Application Developer, and Modernization Architect. So I'm also going to pull up the Mainframe Skills Depot here, just so you can see what that looks like. Whoops, I think I clicked on the wrong slide. I did, sorry about that. There we go. So the Mainframe Skills Depot, a lot of what I mentioned here. So like I mentioned, we have the 3 paths we could go through here. I'm just going to scroll down and start with, I'm just going to start with the system administrator here and go to get started. Here we go. So we have learning tracks for system administrator, app developer, or modernization architect. So you could just start here with an IBM Z 101 learning track. I'm going to open that in a new tab. And then here we go, IBM Z 101. So then here, this also comes back to IBM Z Explore Essentials, which I've mentioned earlier. We got introduction to IBM Z OS, and then we even have how many people are enrolled and how long it will take to complete the course. Coming back a page though, I also want to mention on IBM that here that they say there are over 50 plus badges you can earn. So I'm just going to follow this link here and explore the other badges available. And then here, so we have this is an awesome page too. Just so many beginner and introduction badges that are available. We have Intro to IBM ZOS, Intro to ZOS Commands and Panels, Introduction to System Programming. There are all these badges out here that are available to you that are free. Sometimes you have to click around a little bit. So I already clicked it once. I'm going to click View the Badge again. It's going to take me to this website Credly, which works with IBM to kind of do the certification for the badges, and the verification, I should say, is a better word I should use. So here, then we have an Intro to IBM ZOS. I'm just going to go to Learn More here. It's going to open the IBM box drive. And then here we go. We have, it says it's going to take approximately 12 hours, and then take the course right here. So here, so like I said, you kind of have to do a little bit of digging, which is why I'm glad we're recording this. But then you go in, let me sign in. Need to pull my password. And log in.
Sean, while you're logging in, just a quick question.
Sure.
Do you think the badges are a motivator for people to go in and do some learning?
They definitely are, and great question, because I'm going to get that into a later slide. It's awesome because the badges, they don't expire. And like I said, it's just another thing. It's something that stands out beyond just your resume on your LinkedIn when you see those badges. And you typically in an interview, you'll get a question of something along the lines of, well, what are you continuously working on, or what are you doing outside of your current job role that shows you're dedicated to this, or that keeps you interested, or that keeps that lifelong learning that I mentioned earlier? And it's something that's easy to point to. Like I said, it's very easy to verify, but from the company, from the hiring company, from the student, from everyone, that it's that certifiable, verifiable badge that say, hey, this is something I worked on, this is a course I've completed, things like that.
And do you think that's something that people should promote within their own organization to say this is a really important program that I'm joining as part of that, and it should be recognized internally? Do you think that needs to be done?
Absolutely, especially with interskill too, because interskill has a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? They have a lot of kind of business deals with corporations where it's encouraged to say, hey, like use interskill. We'll get, if so many people use it per year, like we'll give you a deal on the license, things like that. So I think it's very important too for the company, because I had access to interskill, just speaking from personal experience, when I first started, but there really wasn't a clear learning path. And like I've mentioned before, it could kind of be overwhelming with Mainframe. You're seeing all these words. It's kind of like, okay, I'm reading these words, but they kind of don't fit together in a sentence type of thing. So something that I wish I would have benefited from was just having a learning path of saying, hey, like go to interskill, like start with this badge, then go to this badge, then go to this badge, instead of just kind of poking around, like not really exactly knowing where I should be heading specifically with interskill.
Just good to have the structure to it. That's the main thing, yeah?
Yes, very important. Yes.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the question. So I've already started talking about interskill, but interskill provides both IBM skills badges and IBM professional certificates, which I will dive deeper into on the next slide. So this is another slide that was also inspired by Darren's Share New Orleans 2023 presentation. So a digital badge is a portable online data object defined by an open technology standard and common language for describing and validating what each IBM digital credential represents. So adding digital badges to online training saw triple-digit growth in every metric. IBM's Smarter Workforce Institute analyzed data from over 19,000 workers in 26 countries in a cross-section of industries and thousands of different organizations, and found a 3 times increase in employee engagement, 2 times improvement in workforce retention, and it was 6 times more expensive to hire externally than to train internally. So currently, 80% of all IBM Z training badges awarded by IBM are for interskill course curriculum completions. So interskill has more than 230 e-learning courses. It also offers expert videos, mainframe skills assessments, and learning paths. Interskill partners with major industry vendors. Otherwise, individual access is available for $2,500 per year. But like I mentioned, usually Interskill partners with major industry vendors. Interskill has trained over 1 million mainframers globally, delivered over 900,000 hours of training in 2023, and earned 2 training industry awards in 2023. Next, organizations. So if you're attending this presentation here, you're obviously aware of GuideShare Europe, which is an international nonprofit association of companies, organizations, and individuals involved in technology using mainframe architecture. It is 100% independent. GSE is led and staffed by dedicated volunteers, and their objective is to guide, share, and engage to benefit members. So the GSE UK region covers the UK, Ireland, and some Middle Eastern countries. More than 40 companies and organizations are already active in GSE UK, with over 500 managers, technical, and professional personnel regularly involved. Next, we have Share. So Share began, it's similar to GSE, but it began as the first ever enterprise IT user group back in 1955. Share is also an independent, volunteer-run information technology association, providing education, professional networking, and industry influence. Share today,
You say 1955?
1955, yes. Very first ever enterprise IT user group. Yes.
Wow, that's amazing.
It is. It is. It's funny at the last share I was because they were celebrating the 60th birthday of the mainframe. So we had people born the same year as the mainframe and people born the same year as Share. So
It's amazing. Amazing.
So Share today consists of over 1,000 companies with over 13,000 individual contacts within the enterprise IT ecosystem. I did want to highlight Z Next Gen, which is a user-driven community within Share of over 1,000 members, representing 24 countries for new and emerging Z system professionals that have the resources to help expedite your professional development and skills. Z Next Gen hosts monthly webinars that are free to those Z Next Gen members, and webinars take place on the last Thursday of every month. The last organization here is the Open Mainframe Project, which I will get into in the next slide. So the Open Mainframe Project, specifically Mainframe Open Education, is a community that focuses on open sourcing mainframe learning roadmaps and community knowledge transfer. The Mainframe Open Education mission is to offer all mainframe users a platform to cultivate skill onboarding that is most critical to future hires and to allow for knowledge sharing and community contribution. And like I said, we have a Slack channel out there for the Mainframe Open Education. So what they do is they cultivate skills and allow for knowledge sharing and community contributions. The effort is a community-based program, which makes it the differentiating feature is offering a distinctive difference from all the other sources of education is it is the collective body of knowledge within the generous community that matters, creating a groundswell of people who are leading the way for the future mainframe technicians. So next, I am going to mention some conferences. Note that I believe that the only conference here to attend free of charge without already being licensed or a member is the IBM Z Day here. Again, these are in alphabetical order. So we have Broadcom Mainframe Technical Exchanges. There was just one in EMEA, I believe, 2 weeks ago. The mainframe technical exchanges are limited to Broadcom customers and partners. The Mainframe technical exchanges are technical educational events that give you direct access to Broadcom mainframe experts and your peers. And the 3-day events include how-to sessions, product roadmaps, demos, and hands-on labs. And the next event is in North America and is from September 10 to 12, 2024. We have what we are attending right now, the GSE UK virtual and in-person conferences. The IBM Tech Exchange Conference, that takes place in Las Vegas from October 21st to 24th. Expecting to welcome thousands of attendees from client and business partner organizations, user groups, universities, and more. The Technical Learning Conference is designed by technologists for technologists, offering open access to the world of IBM to advance their skills and expertise, and ensuring this year specifically that you will not be left behind in the AI revolution. Like most conferences now, AI is the hot topic, and it will be at the IBM Tech Exchange Conference as well. IBM Z Day, their website, which I mentioned in the notes, hasn't been updated for 2024 yet, but the 2023 edition took place in October. And IBM Z Day is a free 1-day enterprise computing virtual conference for anyone and everyone to hear the latest about IBM Z and Linux One. And then we have Share. The next Share conference takes place in Kansas City, August 4th to 8th in a few months here. So starting to wrap up here, we have a slide on license programs. So a note that on this slide, none of these programs are free and or you have to apply and be accepted into the program. Let's see. So we have the Broadcom Vitality Program. Through Broadcom's investment, a Vitality resident will embark on a multidimensional learning journey, starting with training on mainframe fundamentals and Broadcom products, with experts mentoring them along the way. Next, they will partner on site with the customer to learn their environment and unique business applications. And then upon completion, the resident is ready to start their career as a mainframer. The Mainframe Foundations and Product Training in the Vitality Program covers an introduction and practice of mainframe operational language, utilities, concepts, and Broadcom product training. So the resident, they're partners with technical experts as mentors to learn from and lean on, and the resident then joins a team to take direction from senior technicians to build knowledge. And after about 4 to 6 months, the resident is ready to join a team in pursuit of a mainframe career. Next, we have the Insono Mainframe Academy. Future-proof your resume with Mainframe Academy, which is a 12-week virtual summer internship program that provides a foundational understanding of mainframe, hardware, networking, databases, storage, automation, scheduling, and more just through hands-on activities and mentoring. In the Insono Mainframe Academy, you get challenged to practice your creative thinking and create friendly competition between associates. And the role may become a part-time or full-time position within Insono's Mainframe Academy program. Next, we have IBM has partnered with Franklin Apprenticeships to start with the IBM Z Pre-Apprenticeship Program. It provides an online, self-paced learning environment for individuals to discover if this is the right career path for them. The program prepares individuals for an entry-level career on IBM ZOS and can lead to a full-time apprenticeship opportunity with an IBM Enterprise Computing client. Next, we have ProTech. ProTech is an enterprise IT professional service offering IT training, specialized consulting, and system software solutions. ProTech specializes in ZOS mainframe and open source technologies with over 3,000 course offerings. Course delivery options include local classroom, connected classroom, virtual anywhere, private class, and self-paced e-learning. And next, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this right. I hope it's Vertali. Vertali New to Z initiative is a 5-year program to develop the next wave of mainframe professionals by identifying potential mainframers, 6 to 9 months of prep, and 12 to 18 months of mentoring and hands-on experience before being released into the wild after 3 years. Vertali works with clients and partners to place students in roles where they can start to make a difference. And then again, I have the links in the notes of the PowerPoint presentation here. So just some general advice that you could start using today. Advice I wish someone had told me when I was starting. Definitely take notes. It's on everything you can. It is so much better to take notes, to take too many notes than not enough notes. I didn't start using Microsoft OneNote until my current role, and it has been a savior. It's just incredible. Just learn how to use OneNote. Just learn how to take notes, even when you don't think you need to take notes. Just take notes. That goes into the next bullet, which is documentation. I know when you're first starting in your mainframe career, you can feel kind of helpless and like you're not contributing much because there is so much to learn. Just offer to start doing documentation, because a lot of times just people have been doing their job roles for however long, 20, 30, 40 years, so they just have things memorized, but there's no documentation of anything anywhere. So I felt personally what helps me is if you do that documentation kind of with screenshots and you kind of over document, it's a way that helps you learn, and then you're not so desperate leaning on people all the time. Also, another tip is in kind of your week, whatever it is, daily, weekly stand-up meetings, I've always offered to kind of be the scribe and note taker, because that's just another way where you're forced to be paying attention for the entire meeting and just getting used to the terminology. You just pick things up quicker when you're the scribe, and you're just more aware of what's going on with all the projects and things like that. So that's another big tip. I would say just try to help out with the documentation wherever you can. You do have to put yourself out there. The worst they can do is say no. You have to actively go out and look for opportunities and don't wait for them to come to you. Even kind of on that last slide of all those programs, and you're just saying, I don't know if I'm a good fit, or I don't know if my company will pay for me to go through that program. The worst that they do is say no. Especially I've found in the mainframe space, more than most spaces who I talk to my friends in their roles, that everyone's willing to help. So even if the answer is no, there's almost always an answer. There's always a no, but, and kind of here's another solution, or here's how do we get to that point. Just telling a personal story there. So when I had that summer internship with Mainframe Storage, I was in a group of 10 interns, including myself. So that was a summer internship, and then around December, it was around finals. It was right before we were going back home for our winter break. A bunch of my interns were getting full-time job offers from the company, and I was expecting one, and I didn't get one. So what I did to kind of put myself out there was I made up a final project that I had to do for one of my project manager courses, and I reached out to my two managers and I was like, "Hey, I'm working on this project. Can I come in and just interview you guys and ask you a bunch of questions?" So I just did that, and I asked them, and they asked if I had received a job offer, and I mentioned no, and they asked if I would be interested in one, and I said yes, and sure enough, a day later, I had the full-time job offer. So if I hadn't kind of put out that feeler there and kind of took the initiative and been like, hey, there's kind of something going on here, let me go talk to them, did it in a roundabout way, but I just had a feeling there was something off. And if I didn't do that, who's to say if I would have even ended up in the mainframe world? So just things like that. Asking for help. This is twofold. First, don't be afraid to ask for help. And two, when you do ask for help, make sure you go up to your mentor or your coworker or your manager and come up with at least one solution of saying, hey, here's the problem. Here's one thing I tried to do. Where should I go here? Instead of kind of just sounding helpless. And I know they appreciate it, instead of just being, you're not able to figure it out after 5 seconds. You just throw your hands up and be like, hey, what do you do here, type of thing. Because in the mainframe, it more than most roles, I mean, every role takes critical thinking, but it is a skill in mainframe of knowing where to look for the answers, whether that's Google, whether that's a manual, whether that's tech docs or things like that. That's a skill within itself. And then everything I've listed here, look up all the LinkedIn pages of the company, sign up for all of the email lists just to get it in your mailbox. And just because it's just one more email across your radar, and then maybe when you're just scrolling through real quick, there's something that'll catch your eye and something that'll catch your attention, and things like that. So that would be my general advice. Next, rounding up the session here. I can take this slide. I'm on a roll. Please don't forget to fill out your session feedback. The feedback can be found there. Again, this is session 3R in the 101. We also have a handy dandy QR code there. Reminder, this session is code 3R. And make sure you are signed in to my GSE when you fill out the form of what you thought of the session feedback. And that is all. Do we have any questions?
Thanks, Sean.
Thank you.
So I know there's some comments I'll read out to you in a second in the chat, but before we do that, does anybody in the audience have any questions? Please feel free to unmute, or any comments about what you've heard today from Sean.
Hi, it's Colin here. So
Hey, Colin.
after 39 years in Mainframe, it's good to kind of look at how people are getting into it, how people are learning, and what sources they have, because even when you've been around a bit, you still want to give the best advice to people coming into the industry and just picking it up. So that's really good. Thanks for the session. I've made a lot of notes and certainly be passing on your information. So thanks very much.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I feel like too that I've been very lucky in my career that, I mean, Colin, like the fact you would even be interested in a session like that and like this kind of shows a lot. And it's not just you. There's a lot of people in kind of your position, like with the mainframe. And I think it's because, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but at least how I view it is that kind of the mainframe career path, career choice has treated people well. So they kind of, once they're at towards the end of their career, they kind of want to give back and leave the mainframe in good hands, because that's how they've been treated. Maybe people feel differently, but and that's me being bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. But that's at least how I like to view it. That at least maybe the company or the mainframe career in general has treated people well, so they want it to be left in good hands when they're gone.
That's great, thank you. Anybody else? Any comments or any thoughts really about what you've seen today?
Nope. And then if I could just emphasize one more thing, please download the slide decks, because I put all those links in there, just so it's not just kind of in one ear out the other. That it'll be extremely beneficial to download the slide decks, because all the URLs are in there pointing to you into the right direction. So
fantastic.
Yeah.
Sean, thanks so much. The session was really valuable. I've learned a few things as well, and I've had a few thumbs up. The people have learned something new as well today. So your effort in putting together and preparing this has been very, very valuable to everybody. I think we'll end the session there. Give people a couple of minutes to go back, get ready for the final session as well. John, did you want to say something?
No, I just want to say thank you very much. It's a brilliant session. I've been in IT for quite a few years, but fairly new to mainframe, so it's all good. I'm starting doing some inter-skill courses as well, so that's good to hear that they're recommended as well. So yeah, thanks very much for that great session.
Yeah, thank you. Cheers.
All right, Sean, we'll see you again in the next event, actually, probably later in this year. So
yes, that is true. Yeah, I'm hoping to be there in person. So
fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay,
thank you, everyone.
Well, thank you, and thank you everybody else for joining today as well. Appreciate that.
Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers. Bye.